investment. For the next 60 minutes, you're going to find out how to cover your assets. Cover your assets. Now, here's nationally renowned speaker and expert on getting you on the path to financial strength, Todd Rooker.
Come on, guys. There we go. All right. So we have a really, really intriguing show here this morning. I have a guest, Evie Brooks, which I'll be introducing here in a moment. The concept of expats or expatriates, folks who flee the country in fear of bad things happening or maybe just as a backup plan, has actually grown quite a bit. And with all the chaos and turmoil, I'm not going to be surprised if that actually increases. Now, I'm not in any way insinuating that people leave permanently or that people do that. But what I am saying is, it's never a bad idea to have a backup plan. Hey, remember the show, cover your assets, right? So we're going to be talking with Evie, who has been engaged in selling real estate and developing businesses in Panama. And I think this is just going to be an incredibly intriguing conversation. And if you have a cup of coffee, pull it up, grab yourself a notepad, and I think you're going to enjoy this show very much. So with that, Evie Brooks is from Atlanta, Georgia, and Veracruz, Panama. She is an elite real estate agent and educator, keynote speaker, investor, coach, mentor, entrepreneur, and former advanced trainer for Rich Dad Poor Dad. Hopefully some of you remember Robert Kiyosaki. Best-selling, educational series for financial information there is, and this is right along those lines. So as founder of MyPanamaVacationRealty.com, I want you to write that down. I'm going to say it again, MyPanamaVacationRealty.com. Brooks has access to hard-to-find deals in Panama with high potential rates of return. With over 20 years of real estate investment experience, she's educated and guided thousands of investors through the process of locating, evaluating, and analyzing transitions for cash flow and return on investment, and in 13 countries and 30 states in the United States. So she's got a lot of experience. Brooks is currently sought-after speaker and trusted source to lead real estate investment seminars, keynotes, primarily in the U.S., Canada, London, Scotland, Brazil. I'm getting dizzy reading all these, Evie. Mexico, Costa Rica, Belize, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Vietnam, South Korea, and VIP educational tours in Panama. I feel like I need one of those right now. During the global pandemic, Brooks continues to close deals every week. As I said, not surprising. Primarily due to the soaring demand for organic smart farming investments, avocados, limes, mangoes, and more in Panama, where 85% of the food is imported. And in the U.S., predicting that the world population will grow from 7 to 8.5 billion by 2030. Brooks sees the high demand for agriculture investments surging. As a disclaimer, Brooks and her employees and affiliates are not investment and tax advisors and do not offer investment advice. To learn more, go to Evie Brooks Panama. That's EVIEBROOKSPANAMA.com. Evie, are you with me?
I am here.
All right. Well, very, very good. Glad to have you on the show. All right.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell me, let's just dive right in here and let's talk about this. Why do you think there are so many folks from North America who are looking for Plan B with new options?
Well, this has been an ongoing phenomenon for quite some time. I started back in 2003 and 4 in Costa Rica, and then the big crash happened in 2008, and left Costa Rica and went to Panama because there was such a demand in Panama because of the Panama Canal and the GDP and the growth of the economy in the country, where Costa Rica kind of just came to a screeching halt because it's basically tourism-oriented, flora and fauna. But Panama is completely different. And so you have these people that are looking for a new way of life. maybe to downsize their standard of living, or they're just wanting to escape some craziness that may be going on in their home country, whether it's North America or Asia or Europe or wherever. It doesn't really make much of a difference. So there's a number of reasons that people do this. They may want to be avoiding, or not avoiding, but eliminating their taxes, that they have such high taxes in their home country, or they just want to be in a tropical paradise, maybe for health purposes. So there's many reasons that people are involved with wanting to become an expat, part-time and or full-time.
So with that, let me just ask a question a little off key here. What is that economy like? Wow, how does your American dollar in terms of its value play out in Panama?
Well, the currency is the same. It is the U.S. Dollar in Panama. And so when you get to Panama, you're going to find everything from Panamanian prices, which are substantially lower than what we're used to, of course, in the United States. And then you're going to find the market that caters to North Americans, Europeans, and so forth that are comparable. You're not going to find things that are going to be way more expensive in most cases. I mean, like, for example, the real estate there is comparable to what you're going to see in your average cities like Atlanta or Dallas, not New York or Toronto, Montreal, or, Los Angeles. It's going to be much less than what you see there. In many cases, a quarter to 50% of what you're going to see for the same type quality, build, finishes, amenities, so forth. So the dollar really can go a long way there, and people can have a very high standard of living that they're not accustomed to on the same money that they're used to living on now, and or be able to cut that way back.
So with those folks, Evie, are we talking about the cost of real estate essentially being similar to maybe what it might be in a Midwestern state, as opposed to, as you said, Los Angeles, or maybe on either side of the coast? But then the day-by-day expenses in terms of the value of our dollar, and as Evie talked about, we are the reserve currency throughout the world, so that's not surprising that they function on American dollars. But other things like your grocery bill and utilities and things like that, are those going to be less, or are they going to be about the same, or what's the story with that kind of stuff?
It depends on where you choose to shop. I like to go to the Americanized grocery stores, and they're comparable to the U.S. prices.
Okay.
But you can go to the Panamanian stores and find substantially lower prices for your basic types of groceries.
Got it. So when you do this, buy another home in Costa Rica, are you then to become a Panamanian citizen, or what's the story with that? Or do you not need to do something like that?
Well, when you buy a home in Panama, if you want to have a second home in Panama, or a retirement home, or forever home, whatever it is, you can start the residency process, but you don't even have to invest in real estate to be able to start the residency process. So that's a misnomer. Most people think that you have to make an investment in real estate, but that's not true. If you're from a friendly nation, of course, Canada and the United States are both considered a friendly nation. So you can actually come in and start the visa process with a number of different methods, and real estate investment is not one that's a mandatory type situation. But most people that are becoming expats do want to have real estate there for a number of reasons. The growth of the economy, the GDP is so strong and continuing to grow because of the Panama Canal, because of the Cobre copper mines, which is now considered the third largest copper mine in the United States and projected to be functioning for the next 40 years at least. So with that, and a GDP that has run from 2010 until right before COVID between 5.6 and 11.3% over those last 10 years. And so it's been a very strong economy based off of, first of all, the Panama Canal, and now the Cobre copper mines and all the things that's coming as a result of that. It's kind of a trickle-down effect of the growth of the economy and what is happening and what is still projected to continue to happen in Panama.
So I know you host a lot of tours and bring people over to just kind of indoctrinate them into what they might be, what it might be like, what the as we just talked about, the economy and also the climate. So what is that climate like? What are we talking about? Is it really hot? Is it what are we talking about as a climate? I know it's a small country, so.
It's a small country, but the climate varies from different parts of the country. Of course, the country goes east to west. Most people are not familiar with that, but it kind of goes from east to west. And when you get into the mountain areas, it's much, much cooler than it is on the ocean side, which we are on the Pacific side, where that's where all the growth and the expat communities and the demand is on the Pacific side, unless you go all the way to the west, which is down in like Bocas del Toro. But in the areas that we focus on, we stay within an hour and a half to 2 hours of the city because that's where the majority of the demand is. And that's where the largest expat communities are for those that want to be in the expat communities. And the weather is going to range if you're near the ocean during what they call their winter, high 70s at night, mid-80s in the daytime. In the summertime, it gets up into the low 90s during the day and mid-80s at night. There's typically always a nice cool breeze and sometimes a real strong breeze, depending on the time of year that you're there.
I'm getting the image. The nice cool breeze did it all for me right there. So I do know that Panama's got kind of its own isolated economy. You're right between Costa Rica and Venezuela, which can be very different. But I suspect that even within Panama, as I've said, has its own isolated economy. I expect the expat is that way as well. In addition to, am I right or am I wrong about that?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, very interesting. So, when somebody moves there, what type of tax benefits, if any, might they enjoy moving to Panama?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of properties that are designated as no property tax investor projects. They were designed by the government to attract people to Panama years ago. And it first started with a 20-year tax exoneration. And then it went to 15 and then 10 and then down to 5. Well, that went away in January of 2019, but all those buildings are grandfathered in. So you still have buildings that's got anywhere from 4 to 5 years up to 11 to 12 years of no property tax left. Also, with the pensionata visa, you can, with a pensionata visa, whether you don't have to be of pension age, it just means if you've got some kind of a pension or a lifetime retirement program in place, you may be on disability or whatever it is, that you can get on the pensionata program, and with that, you get all kinds of discounts on, like, restaurants, every restaurant. I don't care if it's McDonald's, 25% discount off of your bill. Airline ticket discounts for the airlines within Panama, like Copa Airlines. You get movie theater discounts. You get discounts on your insurance. So there's all kinds of perks and benefits that you get because of that pensionata visa program. So that's one thing that's very attractive. And I can tell you that the government has currently a new pension and retirement program for a visa in the assembly that we're anticipating the specifics and final details on any moment now, which is even going to be more exciting, more perks and benefits, and more things where they are really trying to bring that expat market into Panama.
Well, it's interesting, and folks, for those of you who aren't aware of this, just like here in the United States, many states offer specific benefits and will actually tailor their laws to be able to cater to a particular group because it's beneficial to the government in terms of tax dollars. It's beneficial to the local economy. And so in those states and in these countries, certain and unique things exist for people who will take advantage of them. And they as I say, tailor their laws and their economic tax structure specifically to be beneficial to people. So when I ask Evie some of these questions, these are the exact questions that I'm asking. You might have heard earlier when we were talking about all the countries that Evie has experience in, and one of those, when she and I were preparing for this about a week ago, I talked to her about Belize. Now, if you've not been to Belize has now offered reciprocity to the United States and its government, but previous to that, it did not. And people were socking away millions and millions of dollars in Belize. And so literally, I've been there. You walk you walk down the street, and there are banks about as as far as you can see on both sides of the street, housing money from all over the world. They positioned themselves to take advantage of that, and it was beneficial. So a lot of countries offer really amazing opportunities and amazing lifestyles just because it's beneficial to them, and you get to take advantage of it. So with that, I'm going to ask the question, why Panama? Why is it so appealing? I mean, we've talked about some of these things, but just from your own perspective, why do you think it's so appealing?
Well, Todd, I could spend the rest of the radio show on this. So in a nutshell, I'm going to just kind of throw out some of the best. First of all, of course, is the economy, the growth of the GDP, the fact that you're on the U.S. dollar. It is a protected U.S. territory, protected by the United States military, but there's no reason because there's really nothing there to go and try to take away. That you know, so you've got that, but you've got so much growth and so much demand for that growth. There's opportunity galore. So you could come to Panama and start your second career if you so wanted to. You can get a job there if you so choose. But because it's such a high-demand location, you're seeing things like what used to be when I got there in 2012, a third-world country, and I mean truly third-world country, has just morphed almost overnight into this thriving metropolitan city. People fly in and from the airplane, they're like, whoa, are we at the right place? Because it has a skyline like you're going to see in New York or Atlanta or, Los Angeles. And so people are just excited about what's happening there. You've got a brand new home port cruise terminal that was just about to open. It was supposed to open in October of this year, and it's about 85-90% complete right now. That's going to be bringing tons of cruise traffic prior to the COVID situation. So we know that's going to take a little while to get back up. But then you've got the metro lines. They started just a few years ago building a metro line in Panama City. The first one was finished just 2 years ago. The second line was finished, and these are around the airport in downtown Panama this past year. And line 3 is under construction right now with the fourth Panama Canal bridge, the fourth one. Now, everybody's familiar with the Bridge of the Americas. This one is right to the right of that, and that's going to open up the traffic issues in downtown Panama, and more people are going to want to get just slightly outside of the city of Panama. And with this fourth bridge and the third metro coming across with that fourth bridge, it's going to open up all kinds of real estate opportunities there for people. You've also got, of course, I've mentioned the Cobre copper mines, which they're projecting is actually going to bring in more revenue than the Panama Canal itself, which is just astounding to me because that Panama Canal and the expansion that took place in 2016 has just put so much money into the economy. The growth of the country, the city, the streets, the bridges, all of the amenities. I can go on and on and on all day. But one thing that is really important is the new Johns Hopkins affiliated hospital that is almost complete. It's scheduled to be finished by the end of this year. And this is the second Johns Hopkins hospital in downtown Panama. It's affiliated. It's called Pacifica Salud, a Johns Hopkins affiliated hospital. So these are just a few of the things, and I could literally sit and go on and on. There's a brand new airport just about to open up that's 3 times the size of the original one, and we were already the international airport for all of Central and South America. So, I mean, the growth is just astounding. Every time I go, it's like I've blinked and I've missed something because they're growing so fast with the infrastructure.
So it is, so exactly what we're talking about. They've made themselves attractive, and it has worked, obviously.
Absolutely.
So the high demand also, I can't imagine we aren't anticipating that will translate into fast appreciating real estate, given the supply and demand if it continues at this pace, right? Is that what you're anticipating?
That's what we're anticipating. Panama is being referred to as the next Singapore. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the real estate prices in Singapore, but they're astronomical. And generational families live together because it's so expensive in Singapore. And they
100-year amortized mortgages, I am aware, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, will we ever see those kind of prices in Panama in our lifetime? I don't know, but I do know that they're projecting that Panama, because of the Panama Canal and now the Cobre copper mines, is going to be like the next Singapore.
Do you have any notion? I know you've talked about the amenities, which of course are being built to attract and to just to benefit the folks who are there. But do we have any notion, given that you've been doing business there for as long as you have, what type of real estate appreciation, or as I call it, inflation affecting real estate, have we seen year over year, or have you recently seen in terms of the value of a home going from year to year? I know typically here in the U.S., folks, we're talking about an average of 3 to 4%, although you may see 11% and things like that per year for a period of time. What are we talking about in Panama?
Well, I will tell you, we have seen year over year 10% on farmland, and that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But then on the actual real estate itself, we've seen 5, 6, 7% year over year. So it's a little bit higher than the average of what you see in the United States right now. I anticipate that once they get that new bridge in and the new convention center opens up, the new cruise ship terminal opens up, all of these things are completed in the next 2, 3, 4 years, that we're really going to start seeing things even grow at a faster pace. Very good, very good. And folks, listen, in terms of investing, we're going to take a break here in just a moment. But in terms of investing, you know, I make the distinction frequently on this call on this show as being the difference between investment real estate and the home you live in, and they're completely different. And it's funny because people will say I have investment real estate and they'll call that their single family home. Well, listen, that's not how it works. But there are strategies by people whom will move every 3 to 5 years and will actually gain net worth because of the equity. And one of the strategies that people will do is they'll buy a home in a relatively new development. They'll live in that home while that development is going through completion. And before the last home is built, when the comparables are all around, and throughout that period of time, the cost of building, and because you now have more folks in the neighborhood, have driven prices up. You know, it's dangerous when you buy the first house in a development with a whole bunch of lots and no other houses. And so your pricing is such because they have to attract people in. But when that development is 8/10, 9/10 full, now they don't have to do that anymore. Now everybody's comfortable. And now, of course, the increase in cost of building materials has driven up the price. And what that means is your home that was built in the beginning is now worth vastly more than when you built it. And then you move and you do it again and again and again. Well, the point is that can be done, and when you have average increasing values that are higher than they are here, and you do the same thing, it's a great opportunity to buy a second home and actually realize some increased net worth in exactly the way I've just described. So, Evie, I expect you probably agree with me. Am I right? Absolutely, but we have a strategy that we use for these expats that's planning to retire in the next 2, 3, 4 years, where we have special options and opportunities with our developers in Panama to get in on pre-construction. Almost impossible to do that here in the United States for these types of projects. But we get in on pre-construction. They offer developer financing. You put down a very small deposit, 10%, 20%, or 30%, depending on where in the construction it is. And then you hold until it's finished. So you're already accomplishing this while it's being in the construction phase, pre-construction for these condominiums and high-rise towers, and the concept is exactly the same. So
interesting. We offer the same thing with our investors here, where the investor comes in, carries the property, puts the down payment on it, and then they enjoy the profit with the builder themselves. So you're talking about essentially the same thing. It's a great opportunity. Folks, we're going to take a break here. We're going to be back talking with Evie Brooks about Panama and what you might consider for your second home as an investment, as a way to make money, enjoy the Panamanian economy and lifestyle. And also, we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the great opportunities in terms of farming and the way that they are making money. Now, you know, you're talking to a farm kid here, Todd Rooker, and so I have a very good handle on what farming is all about. So I'm going to be real interested to hear about some of those opportunities in Panama in terms of its local economy and farming. So we will take a break here, and we will be right back with Evie Brooks.
You're listening to Cover Your Assets with Todd Rooker.
Welcome back, everybody. All right. So we are talking with Evie Brooks. We're talking about Panamanian real estate. We're talking about. We're going to be talking a little bit about their business economy as it relates to farming. But I want to make a point here. You hear me often telling you that the home you live in is not an investment. And I know for a lot of you that's abrasive because everybody else out there is telling you it's the best investment you can ever make. Well, you know, Evie and I, who are both intimately familiar with a guy named Robert Kiyosaki, has a saying that goes this way: an asset makes me money and a liability costs me money. And if you apply that standard to the home you live in, well, guess what? And if that's true, and if you can buy into that even somewhat, well, then you can only imagine what I think about your lake cabin and your second home here locally. I don't have great affinity for that as what you call an investment. However, when you do it in a specific way, as I just described, wherein I'm buying it, I'm holding it with a strategy to see it increase in its value and then sell it and possibly do it again as a strategy, all the while enveloping my own personal enjoyment in that, then it's a different story. And I love that. So it's kind of like having a vacation rental where you get a couple weeks out of the year to take your own vacation while you're seemingly taking care of it, and it's an entire tax write-off. I like that strategy too. So this is a really great opportunity. Let's talk a little bit. I mean, I know this location is just flat out beautiful. I mean, I do know that. Now, I have been there in my former military life. However, I got to tell you, it wasn't aboard the cruise ship Horizon. You know, it was a little bit different and on the ground, kind of a tough love situation. But nevertheless, it is an absolutely gorgeous locale, is it not?
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's you know, when Evie says, you know, ocean views and you know, beautiful breeze, believe me, this is a beautiful place. There's no question about that. But I've also talked regularly on this show about the notion that I don't think farming is a good business. Now, you may be a farmer listening to this, but I grew up on a farm. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't own your own land, and if you're doing traditional commercial farming, number one, you better own a lot of land. Number two, it's going to cost you a bloody fortune for the equipment to do the volume that you need to do, given the low margins that you have. And then there's about a million things that can ruin your day, like carryover from last year's crop, like the economy not being good at the time that you need to sell, like the weather. I mean, we go on and on and on. So I don't have great enthusiasm for that. However, some of the new, more innovative technologies involved in farming, and specifically organic farming, can change my perception of that dramatically, in so much as we can do vastly more production with the same amount of acreage. And number two, those crops, organic crops, are much more expensive. People are willing to pay it, and thereby your margins can be vastly better as well. Now, they're doing this in Panama, are they not, Evie?
That is exactly what's happening with the agricultural in Panama. And it's USDA certified organic, which I think makes a huge, huge difference in the farming outcome.
Well, are people who are going over there with you and are purchasing real estate, are they getting involved in some of the investing of this very thing?
Absolutely. This is a huge, great resource for additional cash flow, second incomes, maybe even a second career in real estate as a whole. And tons of people that are coming over are tapping into this market. Wow.
So have you actually seen some of this? Have you gone and seen the farming? Are you investing in it yourself? What? Tell me more.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm on that farm at least every month, once or twice every single month. I do tours. This is part of my VIP educational tour. We go out to the farm. It's about 2.5 hours from downtown Panama. We spend a day out there. We show them what's happening. The technology behind the farming is just mind-boggling. You and I grew up on a farm with our grandparents probably, and we're talking about two different worlds. Everything is driven by technology, by drones, by computer report printouts on every single plant, every single tree, how much water it's getting. Is it too much? Is it not enough? I mean, what are the minerals? What does it need? It's just incredible. And then the amount of land that's required for the production is substantially different than when I was a child on the farm.
Meaning less, right? That's what you mean by that?
The production, much higher production, much less
per acreage
required.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's where we're going, folks, because as our population grows, that means the land mass that we have to work with from a lot of the folks who look at population growth, for years they've been telling us that, we're not going to have the area, we're not going to have the land mass to be able to support this burgeoning population. However, the technology wherein a person in 1 acre can produce what formerly was 3 and 5 acres before changes everything dramatically. And this is the very type of, I know we've talked about it, Evie, this is the very type of farming that's going on there. And I expect that the American dollar and the monies that are brought in from all these other areas is what's occurring. And actually, with that said, one of the things that I thought of as you were talking was how many people, it's kind of like here in Minnesota, we've got a strong Hmong community, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like 70, 80, 90,000 folks who have immigrated here. What type of numbers are we talking about for folks who are Panamanian transplants coming in the way that you've just described? How many people are there?
The statistics on that are not as readily available as what you're going to find in the United States. I can tell you that the population growth in Panama for people that have become residents and or citizens since I went in 2012 has gone from about 3.6 million to 4.3 million just in that time. But if you're not a resident, you're not noticing that they don't track those numbers. It's like I'm there. I'm not a resident because I'm never there long enough to need to become a resident personally, because I can invest in anything I want. I can own anything I want. I can have real estate. I can have farmland, and I don't have to become a resident because I'm not there for a full 90 days or longer at a time. I'm in and out every single month.
Well, even that said, with that population growth, then let me ask just a more obvious question. Of that growth, is the majority of those folks from elsewhere as opposed to Panamanians just moving into the city?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it is.
Absolutely.
So that growth really is. Those are the very folks we're talking about who are growing that population. Very good, very good. So here's the thing. If you are interested in this, if you have, any inkling that you might be interested in the investment component, buying a second home in a beautiful area, and not to mention one that could actually make you money and increase your net worth, Evie does VIP educational tours where you get to go out there and really put your toes in the sand and get accustomed to what's going on and to see it firsthand. And I'm going to tell you from myself personally, I have to go and see it. One of the things I tell my clients is don't buy real estate unless you can drive by it and see it, because I want to touch it and I want to know. I'm not going to take somebody else's word for it. And Evie, for years, has been doing these tours with folks who schedule the tours, come on over, check everything out, and really get their hands in the dirt and feel what it's all about. And so, Evie, would you do me a favor and just tell us how, if we wanted to, how would we might get involved in that? What would we do to do more research and come over there and see everything?
It's very simple. If you will go watch a very short video, it's about 12 minutes at EvieBrooksPanama.com. I've got several offers on there, 2 offers, very substantial offers. That is E as in Edward, V as in Victor, IEBrooksPanama.com. And if you'll go there, as soon as you sign up for that video, I'm going to send you information on having a free 1-hour consultation with me. But if you watch it all the way through, there's also a cash offer for this VIP tour to join us for that. And this VIP tour is just boots on the ground. We run as hard as we can run. It's a foodie thing. We go to some of the best restaurants in Panama City. We show you the culture, the banking, the legal aspect of getting a visa. Just everything about all things Panama, including real estate, the different strategies, how to make money, if you're looking to get involved with some of these projects from that perspective, or just becoming an expat, whatever you want.
I love it. You know why I love it? Because I get to write the whole thing off. It's a business meeting, a business trip.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah. So if you want to take advantage of that, hopefully you wrote down that address that Evie just provided. She is a doll, takes you out on all these places, gives you all the background in a way that you could never enjoy on your own, and really allows you to see what we're talking about here. And frankly, look, we've got a 1-hour show, that's great, but we can never convey what this really is. I will tell you that I've watched the video she's talking about, and it is incredibly intriguing. And, like I said, if you're looking to take a vacation and, my whole being tax efficient, what a wonderful opportunity to position yourself to take advantage of a wonderful locale in terms of a vacation, but actually do it for a legitimate business purpose and be able to write it off as your business with pre-tax dollars, and really look at what might be one of the best, I hesitate to call it investment, but I guess I will, one of the best investments you might make. And, it's worth checking out. So if you're interested in this, by all means, get a hold of Evie and watch the video. Take advantage of the 1-hour consultation. Look, at the end of the day, Evie, I'm sure you're trying to vet people. You're not trying to qualify them. You're trying to disqualify them. Are you serious, or are you just playing games with me, right? I mean, that's kind of the deal, right?
Well, it is an educational thing, and my whole purpose I'm an educator, and that's why I was with the Rich Dad organization for as long as I was. I left in 2014, June of 2014. But I love working with people and looking at their goals and what they're trying to accomplish, and help make sure they do that without getting taken advantage of. So, yes, of course, we're looking for people that's seriously interested in becoming an expat, but that's the extent. You don't even have to really be looking to purchase anything. If you just want to come, become an expat, find a place to rent, experience Panama, we are truly all things Panama, and that's what we do. Maybe
looking at the investment component as well.
As well, yes.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We have been speaking with Evie Brooks. Evie, I want you to, before we take another break here, give them your website address one more time, and then we will take a break, and we'll come back on the other side of the hour and talk a little bit more. Go right ahead, Evie, if you would.
Okay, it's Evie. E as in Edward, V as in Victor, I is in ice cream, E as in Edward. Evie Brooks, Brooks, Panama.com.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with Evie Brooks talking about Panama. We will be back in a moment.
You're listening to Cover Your Assets with Todd Rooker.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Evie Brooks, and we are talking about you going to Panama and enjoying the wonderful local economy, and also considering purchasing a second home or an investment home, or even investing in some of the organic farming that is going on, and some of the great opportunities. Evie has been doing this for quite some time. She holds tours and brings people over there, and I think a lot of people are just astounded at, one, the beauty of the locale, Panama, and also all of the growth that is going on. And whenever there's growth, there's opportunity, folks. Never forget that. So, let's tell me just from your own perspective, if you could, what you think of Panama. I know you've sold real estate, you've developed businesses in many, many countries, and if you've worked with Robert Kiyosaki, which I know you have, traveled all over the world and done speaking, what is it about Panama that has been so intriguing and endearing to you personally, Evie?
Well, Todd, for me, I want to be in a warm climate close to the water, no matter where I'm at, number one. But number two, it's all about the bottom line for me. I'm always looking at how to take anything and turn it into an asset, whether it's your personal home that you convert the basement into an in-law suite and you rent it out, or you get into a forced appreciation. I'm looking for streams of income, and not just one, multiple streams of income, as well as multiple exit strategies for a safety net. And Panama has that opportunity and ability to do that with just about any type of investment that you get into, any type of property that you get into.
Wow. So, I'm a financial guy, folks. And so when I talk about, the fact that I have very little affinity for lake homes and cabins, I know as I say that most of you completely disagree with me. I'm utterly aware of that. And for most of you, your dream in life is to have a second home, a lake cabin, a place in somewhere that you can escape to and enjoy. And I'll just tell you that from my perspective, typically that's not necessarily an investment per se. It's just a lifestyle thing. Well, what we're talking about here is incorporating a business opportunity within a lifestyle. And then it kind of changes my perspective on things. And so, just the notion of taking a tour of the country, enjoying a place that is just flat out gorgeous, and enabling you to write it all off as a legitimate business expense because it's for the purpose of potential real estate investing. Wow, that changes things. And then, of course, you've got, a second home where you are enjoying tremendous appreciation as compared with here, maybe, possibly, depending on where you're from. And another excuse to take that trip. So, I think this is fantastic. And I think if you envelop the two concepts together, then it kind of changes things. So the other thing, though, that I'll also talk about is the business side of it, which is I suspect a lot of people who go over there are taking advantage of that. And just at the end of the day, the place is beautiful. That's really the deal. So, and with all of the turmoil that is going on, to have a place to so-called escape, you hear people leaving New York in droves. Yeah, but they're not necessarily leaving. They're just traveling upstate or going to Connecticut or, there's a lot of really rich people in New York. So, when you hear that they're all leaving, I don't know that they're leaving their $10 million condo in Manhattan. I think maybe they might just be relocating to their second or third or fourth home. So, this is an opportunity for you to do a similar thing, or at least consider it. So I'll ask you again, Evie, how do they become, how do they actually sign up to take this tour if they might be so inclined?
Okay, again, you just go to my website, watch the video. When you sign up to watch that video, we are going to offer you a 1-hour free consultation just to look at what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to accomplish, maybe answer any questions you have from this. And guys, when you look at what the projections are for growth, population, Todd said it earlier, from 7 billion to 8.5 billion people in the next 10 years is what the United Nations project. That is incredibly strong. There's going to be a demand for more housing, vacation locations, food, you name it. So Panama is just an ideal location because of all that it brings to the table. So again, go to EvieBrooksPanama.com, sign up to watch that video. It's just an 11, 12-minute video. And then there's also a very special offer to participate in our VIP tour. And guys, when you come down for that, it is intense. We pick you up at the airport. We feed you. We show you the best that Panama has to offer. We educate you. We take you to different projects and properties, and we let you look at things that, whether it's for you personally, for your forever home, or if it's for a vacation home or retirement home, it doesn't make a difference. If you're looking to start a business, we'll give you all kinds of ideas and opportunities to be able to start a business. So, Todd, it's just endless. I could go on and on all day.
Well, so I'm listening to this and I am intrigued personally, I must tell you. So, for people who are building homes in these developments, what do they like? What's the square footage on a home like this? Do they have all the same amenities? Do they have, Wi-Fi like we do here? What's the story with? What is it? What am I walking into?
Oh, it's very, very technical. You have Wi-Fi. You have Wi-Fi enabled, business centers. You have multiple pools. The place where I live is right outside of Panama. It's in Playa Bonita, which is in the Weston Resort area. I have 7 pools, a fitness center, 2 fitness centers, gyms, game rooms, 5 restaurants on the property, but I'm in the residential building, so I can either have a residential lifestyle or I can just walk down the hill and I'm in a vacation lifestyle. It's incredible, and it's right on the Pacific Ocean. So you've got all of the amenities and, high-end medical facilities, everything that you can want. You have it there, and you don't have a language barrier. So many people think they have to speak Spanish. I do not speak Spanish at all, and I've been here for 8 years.
So there is no language barrier then. People like me even can function. And all right, what's the price range for housing out there? I mean, I'm sure it's varied, but what are we looking at?
You have everything from, you can get into some really nice high-end type of projects in the best geographic locations for their small units. Let's say 60 meters squared, which is a little over 600 square feet, all the way up to a 5,000 square foot unit. So you're looking anywhere from $185,000 all the way up to $2, $3, $4 million, depending on what you're looking for.
Wow. And so even on the lower end, are these also communities with associations so that I can leave and not have to worry about the exterior having to be handled, or am I hiring someone to take care of it while I'm gone? What's the story on that?
No, it's a lock and leave type situation. So you have the ability to just lock up and leave. But we do also oversee and manage anybody that is one of our clients. We handle everything. So if you're gone for weeks or months at a time, we will maintain your unit for you, check on it for you, and just make sure that everything is kept up to par.
Do you have anybody who's buying these properties and using them as vacation rentals? Is there any of that going on?
Oh, there's a lot of that going on.
Is there?
So, yes, absolutely. In fact, we have one project down in an area called Royal Palms. It's in Gorgona, which is outside of the Coronado area, which is the largest expat community.
Sorry we ran out of time, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Sounds like a great opportunity. Give Evie a call, shoot her an email, go to their website, check out the video. You won't regret it. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.